Hey guys, Christine here. So I feel like I need to do a little bit of an introduction before I get into the details of this video. So for those of you who don't know me, like I said, my name's Christine. I'm the owner of RABBITTRAILS Homeschool, and I'm the mother of 4 children, and I'm married to my high school sweetheart. So we've been married for over 20 years. We've been together for, 23, something like that. Can't remember. So we've been together for a long time, right? And so this kind of starts with our own special needs journey. So both of us are ADHD. I did fine in school. My ADHD is definitely like hyper focused on things and, more so just having trouble coping with things as opposed to academic sides. I always got good grades. I was always fairly organized because I had that hyper focus. My husband, on the other hand, he's always super bright, always had good grades as well. But he always told the story of his 4th grade teacher who very much so supported him. So here's the thing. He did not get a diagnosis, y'all, till he was 40 years old. Just to let that out there. Okay, neither of us were diagnosed as children. We were both diagnosed as adults. 40 years. I knew he had ADHD. Been married him for 20 years. I knew he was ADHD. Finally got a formal diagnosis. Because as those of you who know about ADHD, most likely, if your child is ADHD, chances are at least you or your spouse are ADHD. Most of the time it's hereditary. So he had a great 4th grade teacher that gave him fidget toys and just super supported him the way that he needed to be supported as a child with ADHD. Without knowing, right, without having that formal diagnosis, she just knew how to treat these children, which is fantastic. So going down the road, our first child, no issues. Second kiddo, really, really tough to teach, right? As a homeschooler, I'm just assuming he was a hard kid, right? Because I didn't know what was going on. He's 12 now. He finally got his official diagnosis. So if you are going through special needs, anything, whether it's autism, whether it's ADHD, whatever it is, sometimes it takes stinking forever. And we just need perseverance because a lot of times, now you may have a medical professional who's fantastic. A lot of times there's going to be lots of barriers. I am still fighting to get a diagnosis for my 4-year-old, who I've known since he was born that something wasn't right, who I had to fight to get speech therapy for, who I've had to continue to fight to get other therapies that a lot of times it's working against us. So I guess, I don't know how that's encouraging, but let that be an encouragement to you that you're not alone if this is what you're facing, because it sucks and I get it. So we just, unfortunately we have to keep persevering and keep fighting for our kids because we know what's best for them. But for years and years and years and years and years, I didn't know what was wrong with him because that's how I looked at it, is what is wrong with him? Is he just high needs? What is going on with this kiddo? Why is he so hard? And so that's, I did just look at him as he was just different than my first. And all 4 of my kids are different. And if you have multiple kids, you know that as well. All of them are going to be incredibly different from one another. And that's fine. But he was so much harder. And so that's eventually what led me to RABBITTRAILS, though, is I couldn't find a language arts that worked for him and that I liked because I would get bored too. Hello, ADHD. I couldn't focus on the same textbook all year. I got bored. So we like to have those rabbit trails. We like to jump from place to place because it keeps our attention, but it doesn't in a way that our kids can learn and thrive. But I couldn't find what I wanted. I wanted real books because I was sick of using the curriculum packaged books that weren't as good as what I could find at the library, and that we could just enjoy. We would always go to the library or even Barnes & Noble. We lived really close to a Barnes & Noble, and that was kind of like my prize for my kids, is we would go get those little $3.99 readers. And some of them are so cute, like Frog and Toad. I think I have like 2 Frog and Toad books that are those $3.99 readers. They're probably more money now, but that was 10 years ago. So we would get these readers and we would never have time to read them because we'd always be reading the stuff from the curriculum. And so I was just like, I'm sick of this. Like, I want to read our good books. I want to read what we're finding from the library, and I want to read what we're finding at Barnes & Noble, and I want to read stuff that we want to read and not that we're being told to read necessarily. So I just wanted good quality literature was really what it came down to, and not a book that was written to show a particular part of speech or to show a particular spelling concept or something like that. I wanted good books. And I also wanted to get hands-on, and I also wanted the freedom to explore and to go with my child's interest. And so that is what led me to writing Rabbit Trails Through Literature, and that's where that all started. But I mean, we went through a handful of different curriculum before I finally was like, that's it, I'm just making something up. So not everyone's going to just make something up. I get it, because it takes so much time, right? It's an entire business for me to be able to do this. And I've had to hire writers and all of that to help me, because it's not easy to just go in and make your own curriculum. So I get it. Like, we've done that work so that you don't have to, kind of thing. But that's what I did, is I finally was like, that's it. I'm making something that will work for him. This is without knowing he had ADHD. So I make this curriculum. He's thriving. He's doing great. We ended up doing branching off into science and into history and geography. And I made a spelling and all this other stuff. So it's been 5 years now, and over 5 since we started actually using it, 5 since we started selling it. But it's been amazing. It's been so great because I've been able to just teach my kiddo and to make it so that he's learning. And again, this whole time is without any diagnosis. I didn't know that he was ADHD because it, of course, presents differently with every kid, right? So I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew my kid. And so I just wanted him to learn. And I just wanted peace in our homeschool. I didn't want to get upset. I didn't want him to get upset, right? I just wanted peace in our homeschool. So Rabbit Trails just made a world of difference for us in that, because even like this one lesson that we're writing right now, one of the components of it are something that I know he won't enjoy doing, but there's so many different components that I was able to say, that's okay. You don't have to do this one. Your sister will enjoy this, so she will do it, and you can do one of these other components of it instead. And so I love just that it works for so many different kids of so many different abilities. And that has been the beauty of it, getting into the special needs community and learning more about kids with different needs, and that it literally can work for any of them. Because I talked to a mom who had a kiddo who didn't talk. She's like, how can I make this work for him? And it's like, you can still read the books to him. You can still explain the concepts to him. There's no worksheets, right? So just because he isn't verbal and he isn't telling it back to you doesn't mean he's not soaking this information in. So many kids who are nonverbal are stinking so smart. They just can't verbalize what is going on in their head. So they're soaking all that information in. So read those books, talk about those concepts. If they're able to be crafty, do those crafty things, and it's fine. You can leave the copywork out of it, and you can leave any expecting them to answer you and reiterate what you told them out of it. And so it can, and then even for gifted kids, that you can go down that rabbit trail even further, and you can do research projects and expect more out of them than maybe your typical kiddo. So I just love that it can work for so many different people and for so many different needs and so many different abilities, so that it can truly work great in a home that has special needs kids or gifted kids or typical kids, whatever it is, that you can make it work for you. And so that was a really huge game changer for me. Another really huge game changer was finding a special needs community. So without knowing what was going on, without knowing my son had ADHD, without even knowing I had ADHD at the time, I was like trying to find answers and trying to find community, because I knew, like, as a new homeschooler, when you find your homeschool community, it makes life so much easier, right? So if you join a co-op, or I joined a park day group, when we first started homeschooling, we met up every week at the park, and whatever it is, whatever your community is, that finding that community is huge. It's huge. It's life-changing, right? And so I knew that when we were going into this world of special needs, I needed my tribe. But I was having a really hard time finding it, because so much in the special needs world is broken up by diagnosis. Well, my kid's not autistic, so any of the autism stuff isn't where we're at. Or he's not dyslexic, so all the dyslexic stuff, I can't find even a Facebook group that would fit us. And there wasn't a lot of just big general special needs pages. They were all very specific to diagnosis. I'm like, well, we don't have a diagnosis. I don't know what's going on. That's why I'm trying to get help and this and that. What I did find was the Homeschooling Special Needs Expo. And I went to that, and I ultimately went to talk about Rabbit Trails, because I knew how great it was to help all kids of all different needs. Oh my goodness, you guys. I found answers. I found support. I found tools. I found encouragement. Holy moly. I left so refreshed. I can't even describe. My friend asked if I cried from just feeling the weight lifted. And I'm like, I didn't, because I was so happy that all I could do was smile on my way home, because I was just like, this is it. I found it. I found my people, and I followed several of them on social media and through email and all of that now. The tools and the encouragement I got from that is just unexplainable. It is amazing. And so I'm going to be there again this year. I am speaking on choosing curriculum for your special needs homeschooler. I'm talking about my journey as a hot mess homeschool mom. And I'm also talking about getting great literature in your homeschool. So it's going to be an amazing time. I highly encourage you. I'll put the link, of course, down below, and a coupon code RABBITTRAILS to get $35 off your ticket. I think that coupon code's good until a week before the conference. And the conference is the end of June. So make your plans. Shelby, North Carolina, be there. Because it helped me so much. It helped so much. Literally life-changing. And I always feel like that sounds so incredibly cliche to say that, but it changed my life going to this conference. It was amazing. I met so many other moms to talk with, and so many professionals, and it was awesome. It was so good. So I highly encourage you, if you have a special needs kiddo, even if you don't have a diagnosis yet, or if you've been traveling this for years and years and years, I highly encourage you to go. Because if you've been doing this for forever, you never know if you're the parent that I needed last year, that came alongside me and just talked to me, or whatever. You don't know who's going to be there and what they're going to be speaking about to fill your cup. Because when we're around like-minded people, it can do incredible things. So that's a little bit of my journey as a special needs homeschool mom. And I feel like it's really important to talk about, because we can feel so alone so often, and it can be really hard because it's draining to have kids with special needs. And we really need each other. We really do. Because even just homeschooling, right? If all of your kids were neurotypical and you were just a homeschool mom, even we need support, right? We need to have one another, because it is, there's more demanded of us than a mother who sends her child off to school. We are with our kids. We are teaching our kids. We want to make sure that they are getting everything that they need. So having that same situation of homeschooling and having a special needs kids, that's like demand times 2, or sometimes feels like times 10, right? So we need that support. We need to fill our cups. We need to get the tools for our tool belt to make sure we know what to do moving forward, whether it is just encouragement or whether, for me, like, I got so many answers and was so validated. This was, okay, so let me lay this down for you. This was after I had seen a couple of professionals already for my son. I was told I was a bad mom, and it was my parenting, that he had no problems. I was not a good enough parent. I'm not saying I'm a great parent, but I'm an okay parent, and that was not the issue. So I've had people call me a bad parent, and that's what's going on, and my kid is not ADHD. I've had others that have just kind of brushed me off. Right now, there's so many kids after everything going on with COVID, that there's so many more kids, little guys with delays and all of this stuff. That could be a whole other video of why, but we won't get into that. That it's hard to get in for evaluations. For my little guy, like, we've had so many places just tell us no, like, we're not going to see you because we don't have enough room. We've been on wait lists. Stuff keeps getting pushed back. Like, it's insane. So I get it. Like, it can be hard to find a professional to listen and to give a proper diagnosis, because I was even told in like an intake appointment, yeah, you can bring him in, but chances are until he's older, no one's going to give him a diagnosis because he's not in a classroom setting. So that's another pushback we get as homeschoolers, because they're not in a classroom setting and they don't have that second set of eyes. We can't get a proper evaluation. Isn't that your job as the doctor, is to evaluate my child? Anyway, that could be like a whole other thing too. But we need each other. I got so many answers from this conference of other parents who had been through what I'm going through, validated what I was going through without knowing it, right? Like, this wasn't me going up and talking to them and saying this is what's going on. This is them presenting their session and me going, oh my word, this is what's going on. This is it. Like, this is what I have been waiting for. I didn't know what I was walking into. I just saw sessions about ADHD and I walked in and I was like, wow, blown away. So many answers, so many things to write down. Took so many notes to make sure that I went home and reread so many of them so many different times, and, book recommendations and all of this stuff. It was great. It was so great. So be there. Go. Get the link below. Go. It was amazing. And I really love meeting people. And so it'd be really fun to meet you. So anyway, I'll stop rambling about it. But yeah, homeschooling with a special needs child, it's a whole other thing. And so we just need each other. So come hang out in North Carolina with me this June. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. You have a good one.